Thank you both for being here tonight. I'm just so, and congratulations to both of you.
Oh,
for different reasons, sort of, but your story and you and acting an important chapter of a very important story.
Oh.
And I wonder, I guess I have to ask you the question that everyone does, I'm sorry, and that is to sit in a dark room and see a screen lighting up with your story. What does that do to you? How do you feel when you see that happening?
When we first saw the film when it was finished, Jane, my daughter, and myself, I couldn't I was a bit shocked, I think, and I couldn't relate to me being, it was Judi Dench that was me. It wasn't me, it was Judi Dench. So but once I saw it 2 or 3 times, then I thought, oh well, it's definitely my story.
It wasn't going to change. It was still up there. It was always going to be you.
Yeah.
Anytime someone makes a movie about someone's life, things have to change for the purposes of writing a script that gets done in 90 minutes or 2 hours. Were there any chapters of your life that you wish had been included that that had to be left out?
Yeah, I think they got most of it in, as much as they could get in the story.
I had Steve Coogan in my radio studio a couple of weeks ago to talk about the movie. And one of the things he said was the reason he wrote the movie in the first place was he wanted to do a study of people in the world who have faith and people who don't have faith. Right. And the interaction, the people, you don't have to fight over those things. You can find ways, to reach a middle ground. And I'm just wondering, after the life you led, and as Judi Dench portrays your character, she remains very strong in her faith to the end. How about you?
Well, I didn't remain strong.
Yeah.
After I'd left, after Anthony had gone, he was taken away quite quickly from me. After he'd gone, and then about 2 weeks after, I was in the home in Rossgrey, and 2 weeks later I ended up in Liverpool in a boys' school, working in a boys' school. The nuns had got me this job in England, and I was so upset for a long, long time. Yeah. I actually lost my faith. I thought, how could this happen to me? 3.5 years old, and he's gone. But now you see him, now you don't. Yeah. And I was so sad and so hurt and so upset. And I thought, there can't be a God, at the time. Although I was brought up a staunch Catholic. My mother died when I was 6, and I went into a school from 6 to 18. And it was all, I believed every word I was ever taught in the Catholic religion, as you did in those days, everything the nuns taught you, you believed it, firmly believed it. And I lost a lot of that over the next 2 or 3 years. And then I left this boys' school and I went down south to just outside London, and I became a psychiatric nurse. And I was still bitter. I didn't go to confession, I didn't go to communion. But then, working in a psychiatric hospital with psychiatric patients, over the years, because I worked in the hospital for 30 years, and over the years I began to put my own sorrows behind me and such tragedies I was facing in psychiatric nursing, and I was able to maybe help them over the years, and that's how. And then I gradually, just around the time that I told my daughter the story after 50 years, I kind of thought, well, I think I'll go back and start going to church. I still don't go to confession and communion, but a lot of the stuff I did learn from the nuns. I don't believe in anymore, but I still believe there's a God, and that somehow that he got me back again, got me back into the fold,
So it's a matter of faith versus the church.
Yes, yes.
Sophie, Philomena was talking about that moment in her life when her child was just taken away by strangers. And your portrayal of that moment is painful to watch. And you're smiling, but it hurts to even think about it. And I'm wondering where...
It's better than me bursting into tears right now, really, though, isn't it?
Well, that's my question for you, is how did you get to that point? You're a young woman who certainly never had an experience like that. Fine actress. Where does that come from?
Well, For me, you know, when I saw what I had to do, and even when I did the audition, I mean, I am not a mother, and I've never lost a child. So understanding that kind of loss between a mother and her baby is beyond my understanding completely. And I knew that I could only draw upon certain aspects of my own life and the loss that I've experienced and put that into the role. But there was something else that when I went to go and meet Philomena, because I met Philomena before I started shooting, that really resonated with me and angered me in a certain way, which was when the girls went into the convent, they were stripped of their name and therefore their identity, and the only title that they would have had was as a mother. So when that was taken away from them, they were left with nothing, and that kind of loss of having your identity and control removed from you is something that I felt so cross about. And actually, that day that I shot that scene, Philomena was on set.
Oh, wow.
And knowing that I had to do justice to her for that moment that she has probably played over and over and over again in her head since it happened, was kind of the push that I needed to be able to really commit to it. And you know, it was so wonderful to have you there, because otherwise, trying to get to that place when you haven't experienced what she's experienced would have been really difficult.
You're responsible to two older women in this movie, Philomena and Judi Dench. You had to answer to two.
Both of whom are incredibly strong, intelligent women.
Yeah.
So it was a complete joy to get to, because everyone says, you know, what was it like playing the young Judi? And it's like, well, have you met Philomena? Because until you've met Philomena, like, it's a real double whammy. You know, Judi is such a phenomenal actress, and her work, the breadth of work that she has done is something that me at this stage in my career, I can only dream to have been able to take on some of the roles and be a part of some of the stories that she has. But to be able to do it as a younger version of her, but with Philomena's story, which is a story that resonated with me so strongly the moment I read the script, is more than I could have asked for my kind of first big project.
Philomena, you were on the set the day they filmed that scene, and you obviously have sat through the film a few times. That must be a hard scene to sit through.
Oh.
What goes through your mind when you're seeing that scene?
It just brought it all back again. A lot of it I've never forgotten, but I mean, it just really brought it back to me.
Yeah.
And because the tears started running down, but she did a wonderful portrayal of me anyway. So, and we had met, we'd discussed it quite a bit, hadn't we, before?
Yeah.
So.
She's very honest, and you know, they're difficult questions to ask someone that, you know.
Yeah.
Because.
Has it been a good experience, or are there parts? Is there a little part of you that says, I kind of wish I kept it to myself?
Well, originally when the book came out first, I'd never in my life, when Martin, we got together and started writing the book, never in my life thought it was going to be a book, let alone a film. But then at the end, when Martin, he researched it for a few years, and then when Martin said, well, it would make a good book, and my daughter's done most of the work for me, and discussed it, said, just perhaps it would make a good book. I said, no, not really. I don't want it broadcast. I just want my story broadcast.
Actually, that happens in the movie. There's a part in the movie where Philomena,
That's right. That was perfectly true. I said this. And then I had second thoughts, because I thought there were so many women. There was 100 of us in that one home. 100, and that's just the one home in Ireland.
Wow.
And I thought maybe, like me, all I ever wanted to do was to find him. I knew he'd been sent out to America, adopted to America, but apart from that, I didn't know anything. And I used to say, I wonder where he is, what's happening to him, you know. And over the years, and anyway, I said to Martin, no, on second thoughts, I will, because maybe it will help some other women that are like me, that kept the secret. We were too terrified to tell anybody, because we were social outcasts in Ireland. It was a complete awful sin to have a baby outside wedlock. We were a social outcast, and you never discussed it. we were given different names when we went in there, so you never made friends really. I was called Marcella, and there my name was Marcella, wasn't Philomena, and so you go on with life, and 3.5 years in the laundry, and once, as I say, all I ever wanted to do was to find him, and I thought, by the book coming out and giving permission for the book, at least maybe that I will be able to help some women that will be able to come out and find their, because in Ireland they're not bound to tell you anything.
Yeah.
The amount of times he went looking for me, and they're not bound to tell. They wouldn't tell him.
I think the film's going to help a lot of people heal that you've never even known.
It's coming up in Ireland. In Ireland, it's absolutely going crazy. It's the second week.
Yeah.
The whole story's on the people that, like myself, are all phoning in. We experience the same sort of experience. That wouldn't have told the story except they've seen my story. I hope I've helped. I hope I have helped.
It shows how a movie can be very important.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember we were speaking yesterday, and it was, there are so many other nameless women out there that are never going to have Judi Dench play them, and they're never going to have the similar kind of story, made by a big director. But it's the kind of thing by you going forth and doing this, that they feel that this was actually the courage they needed to actually maybe tell their family.
That's right. Yeah. This is what's coming out in Ireland now. There's hundreds of phoning in, and they're phoning in gentlemen like yourself, on panels and all sorts of things. And yes, it did happen to us, and we went through the same sort of thing. But until my story came out, and at least I think I've helped somebody. I hope I have anyway.
It's a real happy ending.
Yeah.
Philomena and Sophie, thank you so much for being here tonight.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much indeed.
Wonderful to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you.